Good morning. Welcome back to Loose Powder Week. I have completely lost track of what day it is. Today we are going to be doing the by Terry Hyaluronic Hydra-Powder. I was having a conversation with a girlfriend of mine and she was like, you know what, take mine. I bought it, I used it a couple times. She's like, it's fine. But she's like, it doesn't wow me when I put it on the skin. So I thought, well, I will definitely give it a shot and we will see if it wows me. So she was kind enough to gift this to me and there's plenty of left. So I can't wait to give this a shot. So if you're interested in hearing more about this by Terry Hyaluronic Hydra-Powder, then just keep on watching. So I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm a little hurting this morning. My hair, this is all I can do with my hair. This is it. And I was out late last night until I think I got home at like midnight, which is really, really late for me. I mean, I'm usually in bed at like 7:30 and I'm fast asleep by 8:30. So, and I get up really early. I did not get up really early this morning. So I was hanging out last night with Sonia G, Sweet Makeup Temptations on Instagram, and that's the name of her blog. And if you don't know her, she has created her own brush line. Anyway, that's how I've gotten to know her. Anyway, she was here in Vegas, and so we decided to meet up for dinner, and we just got to talking, and she is so lovely. You know, she's one of those people where you read her blog post, you know, you see pictures of her, this and that, you think, I bet she's a really nice lady. Well, she's 10,000 times nicer than that. I mean, she's spectacular. She's so warm and she's so gracious, and we just had a great time, and we just talking, and you know, after a while I was like, do you want to go makeup shopping? And she was like, it's like 11. Is anything still open? And I was like, it's 11? I had completely lost track of time. So it was a wonderful time. Got home super late. I feel hungover. I didn't drink. I don't drink. And and just from going to bed a little bit later than I normally do, I feel hungover. I feel jet lagged. That's what I feel like. So anyway, totally worth it. It was Sonia, if you're watching, it was so lovely to meet you. I hope to be able to see you in Switzerland, where Sonia lives. Would love to go visit her there. All right, let's talk about this powder. It is it's $60. Sorry, I'm on the By Terry site and they have their prices in euros. So if you're in Europe, it is 46 euros, but it is $60 here in the US. So I'm just going to read quickly what it says about this powder on the website. It is colorless, it is microfine, hyaluronic acid powder, can be used day and night, after foundation or skincare, ultra filling and plumping hyaluronic acid spheres. So it's supposed to help eliminate or, you know, resurface wrinkles, fine lines, enlarged pores with a sheer touch. It's blurring makeup setting powder, soft touch texture, lumi smoothing finish. Gosh, it's using all the words. Apply by patting with fingertips onto zones in need of correction, or apply all over the face with a complexion brush. Fingertips, that is very interesting. Have you guys ever applied loose powder with your fingers? I mean, I guess you could. I just never thought to do that. But we're going to try that. Apply by patting with fingertips onto zones in need of correction. That would be my entire face. Well, we'll definitely give that a shot. Okay, so I've got a couple brushes out here. I have my Surratt powder brush, and then I have my La Mer powder brush as well. So natural hair, synthetic hair, and this is much larger also. Before I forget, it is about 9 o'clock in the morning. I have the Clé de Peau, the foundation on, and I have the Clé de Peau concealer down. That's all I have at the moment, which I'm sure you can tell. And here is the powder. So this is the packaging, a sturdy plastic case, and the lid screws off. There's a very typical kind of standard sifter at the top. So wow, this is really fine. It's even hard for me to pick up on my fingertip here. So here it is on my finger. I keep showing you guys my finger swatches of this loose powder, but I really don't know if it's helpful. And I think I'm going to try and apply this to my under eye and the larger pores I have over here. We'll give that a shot. Wow, this powder has a really kind of slick feeling to it. I think of all the powders I've used so far this week, this has the most interesting texture. You know, the Chantecaille feels very silky. It feels very finely milled. The Marc Jacobs had a little bit of a creaminess to it, and the Sisley powder felt probably the most kind of typical. Felt like a very typical loose powder. This one feels almost like there's slip to it. So I'm guessing there's probably a lot of silicones in there. Wow, well that is super mattifying. I'm going to add it, I see my larger pores here. I'm gonna add it on top. Wow. Okay, immediately I see the larger pores that I have here gone. They are totally gone. I'm gonna zoom in and hopefully you guys can see the difference between here and here. This obviously is the side without any powder, and here's the side with powder. Holy smokes, that just completely blurred out any of my larger pores here. They're literally gone. So at the moment, I will say that this powder is excellent for oilier skin, for skin with larger pores. Those usually go hand in hand. I don't know that I like this on my dry skin. This really, really mattified underneath my eyes here. And while I don't think it necessarily emphasized my lines or anything, it just looks so dry. It just looks completely devoid of any moisture whatsoever. And I'm not sure that I like that. I'm not sure that I like that. I like a little mattifying, you know, again, I like to kind of give my face like a nice canvas or whatever, but this is like gone. Moisture is gone. I'm gonna take the Surratt brush and I'm going to apply to the same areas underneath my eyes and over my larger pores here, but with the brush, and I want to see if the application looks any different. I'm going to just sweep that across. Okay, where I have the larger pores, I think the application looks fairly similar. The pores look blurred. They're pretty much gone. I'm like still in shock. They're pretty much gone. I don't think I like the brush for underneath my eye. I feel like it picked up a little bit of texture there. So I don't know if you guys can see that, but I think I like the fingertip application for the powder underneath the eyes. So I'm going to add a little bit more and see if I can fix that, or maybe I'll make it worse. I think it's just starting to look a little bit cakey, so I wouldn't use too much of this powder, especially under the eyes. So I think I'm going to switch over to the La Mer brush because I'm not sure if the sweeping action is very good with this powder. I think it ends up kind of clinging to things at that point, so I'm going to try the La Mer brush so that I can buff a little bit more. I just have a little bit on the brush here. I'm going to stamp it down. So this powder I think is the most mattifying, at least at this point, the most mattifying out of all the powders I've used so far, more than the Marc Jacobs, which was pretty mattifying, more than the Chantecaille, more than the Sisley. This one really laid down like a matte finish all over my face. And I don't mind it on most of my face, it worries me under my eyes. It worries me that it's just gonna get more and more dry. So we'll just have to see. And I think it's done a better job blurring pores than blurring my fine lines. So there it is over my foundation and concealer. I'm going to go off camera, finish up the rest of my makeup, and again, when I'm testing out these setting powders, I'm not going to use bronzer and highlight or any other powder products that I don't need to use because I don't want to interfere with it. So I'm just going to add a little bit of blush, eyes and lips, and I'll be right back. Hello, I'm back. Okay, I've put on some eyeshadow, blush, eyeliner, brow stuff, obviously some lip gloss. I'm actually using the Tom Ford lip lacquer in Ravageur. I love it. I love this lip lacquer patent finish formula. It's so good. It's so good. Anyway, back to the powder. So I don't think much has changed. It's only been about 15 minutes. I feel like the side that I applied the powder without my fingertip with the brush is actually not looking that great at all. I feel like it's looking a little bit more textured even still. But the side where I applied it with my fingertip, I think it looks pretty good. Again, it's super matte, but I think it has smoothed this area a little bit. But again, right here around my larger pores, I'm still like blown away at how it's like blurred my pores right there. Very, very amazing. And for a powder this matte, I would be very concerned with my problem areas up here on my forehead, along my temples, where I have that eczema scarring and that weird texture. It doesn't seem to have emphasized any of that at all, so that is also awesome. I think it looks pretty good, just incredibly matte. So let's see if this changes throughout the day. I will be back. I actually have to go out for lunch, so I'll probably be back a little bit later than usual, maybe like further into the afternoon, like at the 6-hour mark. In any case, I will do a check-in and I will see you then. Hey guys, I'm actually standing outside right now. It is 1:30. I've had this makeup on for 4.5 hours. It is so sunny outside that I can't actually stand in the sun because you wouldn't really see anything. But I did want to give you an update. So this powder looks terrible right now around my nostrils. It looks really, really dry and flaky. It looks like there's powder on my nose, basically. It looks like it hasn't been buffed in or anything. It looks like it's just sitting around my nose, so that's not great. So far, I feel like the rest of my face actually looks really nice. I feel like the mattifying effect has kind of calmed down a little bit. So that's it for now. I will be back at the end of the day to give you my final thoughts. Hello, I am back. It is about 5:30 in the afternoon. So let's take a look at this powder. This is basically how I feel. So around the nose, I was just thinking back to my check-in. It was definitely looking really kind of crusty around the nostrils. It doesn't look crusty around the nostrils anymore. I think it just kind of disappeared. I'm trying to remember if I like blew my nose or anything. I don't think so. So I think it's just sort of kind of melted away, you know how makeup does during the day. So I think it's just melted away from this area, so that is not there anymore. So I think what is fascinating about this powder is that it really mattified my skin, but I don't feel like my skin is dry. It doesn't feel dry. I don't think it looks especially dried. Like I don't look like a desiccated corpse. I just look mattified. I think I looked more mattified around my entire face when I first applied it, so definitely it has softened up a little bit over the day. It still looks very matte underneath my eyes. It did make my eyes look, I thought, a little bit aged underneath. I thought the dryness and the matteness of the powder emphasized my lines down there a wee bit. Made it look a little bit old. Now, the good news is it hasn't changed, like not one bit all day. It looks exactly the same under there as it did when I first applied it. So there is some incredible staying power with this powder, which I find to be very, very impressive. The other thing I thought was really cool was that blurring effect that I got. Not over the fine lines, but for me, it blurred my larger pores here, and that is still the case. So the longevity of this powder is amazing. The blurring effect of this powder is amazing. If you like something that has like basically just a flat matte finish, this is probably the powder for you. So I feel like this powder actually reminds me a little bit of the Viseart Seamless Perfecting Powder, I think is what it's called. What is my dog doing? Miss Fuzzy Butters! I just picked her up from daycare, and she's supposed to be tired out. But she comes home often, like just, I don't know, kind of like a kid. Like she's so excited, and then in about a half an hour, she's just gonna sleep through the night. Like you won't be able to wake her. But it's this half hour that she's like really... So this powder actually reminds me a lot of the Viseart Seamless Setting Powder? Seamless Perfecting Powder. They had like the same appearance, you know, both are like really stark white, very finely milled. And the Viseart I liked to set under my eyes because I felt like it blurred my fine lines. I don't feel like it blurred my pores, but it definitely blurred my fine lines. So I feel like between these two powders, you can get some amazing blurring effect. I just personally am not the biggest fan of a powder that is this matte. I don't want one with like little micro glitters like the Sicily per se for a setting powder, but I do prefer something like the Chantecaille that has like a natural kind of finish to it for my setting powder. For my finishing powder, as you guys know, I like a lot more glow and I like a lot more going on. So I think this is great if you have normal skin. I think this is great if you have oily skin. And I think if you have dry skin, I think it is definitely going to be what your preference is, because I don't feel like it's made my dry skin any drier. But I know personally from talking to other people with dry skin that most people with dry skin don't like a matte finish because it's like a psychological thing. It just makes us feel like our dry skin is even drier. So that is it for today's video on the By Terry Hyaluronic Hydra-Powder. I think this is a rock solid powder. I just don't know if it's for me. So let me know down below in the comment section if you have any questions about this, if you've used it, what your thoughts are. I'm always very, very curious to hear your experiences with powder. I know some of you love this powder. This has been recommended to me by you guys often. So definitely let me know if you are still loving it. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it, if you're enjoying Loose Powder Week, and subscribe if you haven't already. I will see you in my next video.